Welcome to episode 4 of the E16 series between Bergen and Oslo. My name is Emma. I am the owner of The Hidden North, an online travel guide for Northern Europe with a focus on Norway, road tripping, and the coastal ferry. In episode 4, we take a short drive, but it is very pretty because we are now going to cross the mountains between West and East Norway. There are many different mountain crossings, but the E16 takes the Filefjellet Mountains, and these are typically regarded one of the safer mountain crossings, which is why it's been a historic road for over 1,000 years. Along the way, we will actually see remains of the old road, we will see a historic church, we will see some old mountain lodges that travellers would have used, and we get to see these beautiful mountains. Do notice how the weather changes completely. Once we get into eastern Norway, we lose the rain, and we finish this drive in a village called Vang, which has 2 very interesting historic monuments. So enjoy the drive, the E16 from Bergen to Oslo, part 4, Borgund to Vang.
I see it in your eyes. Yeah, I can read the signs. You need to get away. It's time we make a change. Oh, you know you'll always have me. Baby, I will always stay with you. So put your trust in me. We'll work it out, you'll see. If we get in a car and drive someplace far, yeah, we could go for a ride. The two of us, we don't have to stop. Baby, let's go for a ride. You and I, let us run away. We can go where we want. I'll have your back if you'll have mine. You and I wanna leave everything behind. If you wanted to, promise you we will be alright. If it's you and I want you to myself. We can stay in hotels, just living off the edge. Only good times ahead. So let me put a smile upon your face. Maybe make your worries go away. So put your trust in me. We'll work it out, you'll see. If we get in a car and drive someplace far, yeah, we could go for a ride. You and I, let us run away. We can go where we want. I'll have your back if you'll have mine. You and I wanna leave everything behind. If you wanted to, promise you we will be alright. If it's you and I. You and I, let us run away. We can go where we want. I'll have your back if you'll have mine. You and I.
Hello, we are now crossing the Filefjellet Mountains and into the next municipality, which is called Vang. That is also the name of the village where we're ending today's drive. So Vang is a small municipality. The name comes from an old farm, although Vang is also an old Norse word that means field or meadow. The coat of arms are based on historic descriptions and depictions of the personal arms of a local medieval nobleman called Sigvard of Lærdal. He was named as one of the members of the delegation that followed King Håkon Magnusson. The municipality was originally populated by migrants from western Norway, and the ancient Vang church was the site of a legal court held by King Håkon VI in 1368. We will actually see the site of the church at the end of today's drive, so that's an incentive to stick around. Speaking of churches, we are coming up to a very interesting church on the left-hand side, and I now kind of regret not stopping here because once I read about it, I thought it was fascinating. St. Thomas Church. There has been a church here for hundreds of years, and the first church to be built here was believed to be a small stave church dedicated to Thomas Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury. The church was in use until the Black Death in 1349, then fell into ruins. It was rebuilt in the 17th century, and it became associated with many different blessings. The church was demolished in 1808. According to legend, the church was torn down by people who believed the church held evil spirits who were now causing them damage. The old church bells were taken to different churches in Valdres, which is the valley we'll drive through in the next episode, but they were eventually returned as they didn't work in other churches. So it's like one of those old folk legends. A poet called Anders Undredal started a campaign in the 1920s to rebuild the church because he'd heard about the church and its bells. Unfortunately, Norway's Nazi party, which is called the National Samling, adopted the rebuilding of the church as one of their campaign issues, and Undredal became influenced to join the Nazi party. After the war, he was disgraced, and when the church was finally built in 1971, someone else got the credit for it. So we'll barely see St. Thomas Church on this video. And again, when I saw it, I thought it's just a modern, ugly church from the 1970s, but now I know it has a really cool story behind it. So hopefully you'll stop there for me. Anyway, let's continue crossing the mountains, and then we'll start to make our way down into Vang. Down to the left, we will soon pass a small village called Øye. We didn't stop here because when we did this drive in 2020, we actually stopped in front of this church, so that's why I have a picture of it. Øye Stave Church, it is one of the smallest stave churches in Norway, likely from sometime during the second half of the 12th century. The church is first mentioned in written documents in 1347, and it's by the old road between East and West Norway. If you've been watching all of my videos on the E16, you'll notice this becomes kind of a trend, and I personally think it's fascinating that one of our main highways follows an ancient road with ancient monuments alongside it. Anyway, I'm into that kind of stuff if you haven't figured out already. Let's keep on driving. Our last stop for today is Vang, but don't worry, it is a very interesting place, so I do recommend sticking around. welcome to Vang i Valdres. The reason why it has that name is because there are many Vangs around Norway, and we are at Vang i Valdres, Valdres being the name of the valley. So this village was populated by migrants from Western Norway, and people have lived here for thousands of years, probably because of the proximity between East and West Norway. Vang is by a lake. Hopefully you read the little description I put up. And this is just before the mountain pass to Western Norway, so therefore it was a good place to rest. Vang was the site of a legal court, which is called a ting in Norwegian, and an ancient stave church was next to the site. The site was famously used by King Haakon VI in 1368 when he was settling a boundary dispute. Vang also is part of the ancient road between Bergen and Oslo. The postal road still exists. Today on this side, it's mostly hiking trail. On the west side, back towards Borgund, you can actually drive on part of it. I have written a travel guide for Vang, which you can find on my website, thehiddennorth.com/destination/Vang, and here I've listed things you can see and do. Coming up on the left, you will soon see the Vang Church. Originally, there was a stave church here that dates back to the 12th century, but in the 19th century, the church was sold to Poland as the locals wanted to build a new church. The original church is actually still in Poland, and please let me know in the comments if you have seen this church in real life, because it is on my bucket list. But Vang Church is not the only monument you can see here. This is also where you can see the Vang Stone. The Vang Stone is a rune stone from sometime around the year 1000, and the consensus is that it was erected to signify early Christianity in the region. On top of the stone is a lion, which sort of represents Norway's coat of arms, I think. On the side of the stone, it says, I'm not going to read the Norwegian one, but basically that Gåse's sons erected this stone after Gunnar, his nephew. The story of Christianity in Valdres is well known for being violent and dramatic. So the Vang Stone is a very important object that tells something about Christianity in the region. Here are some photos that I took of the Vang Stone. But otherwise, this is also where our drive ends today, so be sure to check out the next episode where we continue through the Valdres Valley towards Fagernes. Along the way, we will pass 2 stave churches, as well as multiple other historic churches, again, following the old E16. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for coming on today's drive with me.